historically, the word shaman comes from Russia. You'll hear it in language as the medicine person that's in the tribe. And there's shamans, whether you were in Australia, if you were in South Africa, if you were in Finland, if you are across the United States, and you'll hear them down in Peru, the word shaman. And what a shaman is, and we want to talk about what is the historical shaman, but what's a modern day shaman? What's a modern day shaman? So historically, the shaman was the healer in the tribe. Since Avatar, remember Avatar where the shaman was the hero? Yeah. So the shaman is the person that, in one way to look at it, that has one foot in this very ordinary reality. Very much in this day-to-day reality, we pay our bills, we do our work. So in olden days, it was, they grew the vegetables, they hunted, this very ordinary reality. But there's another part of them that is very much in this place of the invisible world, this inordinary reality. If you want to say another word, if it works for you, spirit. So they're in this balance between both. Now, what the shaman always has been historically is they were in service for their community, their tribe, their people, their village. They were in service for it. So what their job would be to do, sitting in between the worlds, is their job would be to say, where are the fish going to be? Not now, but where are the fish going to be out in the future? Or where are the buffalo going to be out in the future? Or if someone was ill, what needs to be done in order for them to heal? So you hear them as the healers of the tribe, of the organization, the visionaries, the medicine man, the medicine woman. If we want to look at the modern day shaman, it's the same thing, one foot in this very ordinary world of reality, where I look at it where you pay your bills from, you go to work from, you drive your car from, you take care of the kids, the family. It's a very ordinary world. But what we also want to have is we want to have that other part of you that's here for a much greater connection in the world, but here of service. So the shamanic path is a path of service, and it's a service for the community. It's a service for the tribe. I think it's called the Osage tribe that was in the Midwest. So what was happening when in North America, when all of the tribes were being sent to the reservations. And the Osage, they had made the move, and the cavalry had, and then they let them come back, and then they moved them again. And finally, in negotiations, they said, we will let you pick where you want to have your reservation. What a choice. So where do you want to have your reservation? So what they did is the people went to their shaman, and they said, where should we have our reservation? So in the shaman, one foot in each world, what they did is they wanted to look for where would be the best place where the land would take care of the tribe. Where the land would take care of the tribe. Anybody have any idea where they ended up? Oklahoma. Anybody been to Oklahoma? It is not California. It is not green. It is definitely a lot of brown, but what else is in Oklahoma? Oil wells. Oil wells. They are the richest Native American tribe in the United States. And it was their shaman that said, where will the land feed the people? And the land now feeds the people long term with it. If we looked at Einstein's equation, that one that says that E equals mc squared, this is the modern day shaman. They're the ones that actually sit right on the top of the equal sign. We have this world of the energetic and this world of matter. And how do we balance between both of those? That's the shaman part of the equation. Now, this shamanism that Dr. Vialdo, as Lee was talking about, was the founder of the Four Winds. And he went down and he worked with shamans down in South America. And actually what he was a medical anthropologist looking at how do people heal. So he went all the way across, he was looking through the Americas, but what he found is the healing techniques had been so influenced by alcohol and by religion. that they were no longer a clean healing technique. So he went down through Mexico, studied with some curanderos through Mexico, ended up all the way down into Peru. And we're doing a little tiny anthropology so you can see how it relates with 2012. So in Peru, the conquistadors had, so the Inca empires were this right about the 1500s is where we're at. And Inca Empire is right at its heyday. And actually the Inca Empire was a very short-lived empire. It was only 300 years. So it was not a long time. So here's the Inca Empire, and they're growing and growing, kind of like the United States. They kept adding colonies. They kept adding other countries around them. And the conquistador that came in, his name was Pizarro. And Pizarro had been trying to make his way down to Peru for the gold and silver that kept being as told the gold and silver that was there. And he had tried to go down a couple of times, couldn't make it. So he goes back to the King of Spain and he said, fund my expedition one more time. And the King of Spain said, I will only fund it one time, and if you don't make it, I am never funding it anymore. So what Pizarro did is he went to the prisons to fill the boats, and he emptied the prisons, and people were able to undo their sentence if they would go down on this expedition. So he finally made it. Finally made it in 1953, 1532 is right when he came down. And he comes in, hits the seashore, and then comes into Cusco, which is more inland. And there he's met by the ruler of the Inca nation. And they have a priest with them. And actually the Inca nation, the Inca talked about that the conquistadors were going to be coming. They said that there would be individuals that spoke with thunder and had 4 legs. Horses, and guns. So what Pizarro brought down is he brought in 200 soldiers, prisoners, and the Inca had 80,000. And what happened in the end is the Spanish won. 200 against 80,000, and the Spanish won. So when they came in, the Spanish came in, and of course they had their priest with them, and they met with Atahualpa, who was the ruler, and they brought him and they gave him a Bible. And they said, here's the word of God. And what he did is he held the Bible up to his ear, and he couldn't hear anything, and he threw it down on the ground and said, what God would have no voice? Well, that was his last voice. And they beheaded him, story goes, quartered him, and sent him to the edges of the Inca Empire. They went through, the Spaniards systematically went through and destroyed all of the religious sites. So Silicani, Rachi, Tupan, all the religious sites they went through and destroyed. The reason that we love to go to Machu Picchu is they didn't find it. That's when Hiram Bingham came in, why it was so pristine, is they couldn't find it. So they went through, destroyed all the sites. They took blankets full of diseases and put them in the villages. And the whole community then, of course, was dying with the diseases they didn't know about. And also then ended up in civil war. All of this is happening. There's a group of the Inca that just said, this is crazy. Who they have ruling the country now are prisoners. I mean, this rapists and muggers and, all of those murderers. And then who is actually the ones that the medicine people, the shamans, were out in the field. So there's a whole group of the Inca that just left. They packed their bags and they left. And what they did is they went high up to the mountains in Peru, and they went to live at 15,000 feet. 15,000 feet. And what happened over time is that they were actually forgotten about. It was only legend and lore that they were in existence. First time they came down off of that mountain was in 1959. I mean, for some of us, that's in our lifetime, or at least in your parents' lifetime. That wasn't that long ago. So what they did in the mountain is they kept all of their traditions very, very clean and very pure. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is some of their traditions, but we want to talk about with 2012. So when the conquistadors came in, what they talked about is that this was the first Pachacuti. And what they called it, they called the Pachamama the Mother Earth. So Pacha means Mother Earth, but it also means time, is what Pacha means. So there was this first Pacha, and Kuti means to turn over, to turn over. So what they said the first time when the conquistadors came in, that there would be this great Pachacuti, this turning over of the world was going to happen. So here we have total, disruption, chaos that's happening, this first turning over. What the Inca prophecies say is that December 2012, that we're talking about the second turning over of the world. That 2012 is the next Pachacuti, this great turning over.